Sometimes, the scariest part of a disappearance isn't the moment someone goes missing, it's what's left behind when they're finally found. In the summer of 1994, a young couple, Daniel and Emily Warren, packed up their old blue pickup truck and headed deep into the wilderness of southern British Columbia. Emily was 6 months pregnant, glowing with excitement about their soon-to-be first child. It was supposed to be a quiet weekend away from the noise of the city, just two souls and the life they were about to bring into the world. But they never came back. For decades, their case went cold. No vehicle, no trace, no answers. Until one late autumn morning, 8 years later, when a lone hiker stumbled across something hidden beneath the moss and snow. What he found not only reopened the case, it revealed a final message from Emily that would leave investigators and an entire community in tears. Before we begin this heartbreaking story, if you love deep real-life mysteries and powerful unsolved stories like this, please take a second to support this channel. Backhand index pointing right medium skin tone, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story that deserves to be remembered. Your support helps us bring light to the forgotten and gives a voice to those who can't tell their story anymore. Now, let's go back to the summer of 1994, when love, hope, and tragedy all collided, deep in the heart of the wild. It was early July 1994, the kind of summer where the air itself felt alive. Daniel Warren was 29, a quiet but passionate wildlife photographer from Vancouver. His wife, Emily, was 27, a kindergarten teacher known for her soft voice and kind eyes. They'd been married for 3 years, and after 2 painful miscarriages, this pregnancy had brought new hope and healing. 4 months, Daniel had promised her a peaceful camping trip before the baby came. "Just the two of us," he'd said, "and a little escape before our world changes forever." That Friday morning, they packed their truck with essentials: a small tent, an old Coleman stove, and Daniel's Nikon camera. They told family they'd be heading north toward Cathedral Provincial Park, a vast, scenic area known for its quiet trails and mirror-like lakes. Emily's sister, Rachel, recalled their last phone call vividly. "She sounded so happy," Rachel said years later. "She told me Daniel had found a perfect spot by the water. She said she could already hear the baby kicking that morning. It was like everything had finally fallen into place for them." By that evening, the couple checked in at a small roadside diner near Karameus, their last confirmed sighting. Witnesses remembered them laughing, sharing a milkshake, and talking about the baby names they were considering: Lily if it was a girl, Ethan if a boy. But after they left that diner around 8:30 p.m., the world never saw Daniel or Emily again. The next morning, when neither of them showed up for work, friends assumed they were still camping. But by Monday afternoon, Emily's parents grew anxious. Their daughter never went more than a day without calling. By Tuesday, her father reported them missing. That night, a search team was dispatched to the trail Daniel had marked on his camping permit, a secluded loop known as Pine Hollow Ridge. Rangers found tire tracks matching a 1991 Ford pickup heading up the narrow dirt path. But the tracks stopped halfway into the woods, and from there, nothing. No truck. No tent. No sign of struggle. Only a few cigarette butts and a footprint half covered by pine needles. It was as if the forest had swallowed them whole. Weeks turned into months. Helicopters scanned the mountains. Dozens of volunteers combed the ridges and streams. Daniel's family even offered a $25,000 reward, but there were no leads. Reporters began spinning theories. Some said Daniel had run off to start a new life. Others whispered about a bear attack, or even foul play. But Rachel, Emily's sister, refused to believe any of it. "They were excited for the baby," she told a reporter. "Daniel adored Emily. There's no way he'd leave her, and she'd never just vanish. Something happened out there." Something terrible. By the end of 1994, both families had to face the unthinkable. With no bodies, no evidence, and no closure, the Warrens' disappearance became one of British Columbia's most haunting mysteries. In the months following Daniel and Emily's disappearance, the community around Keremeus Valley came together like never before. Hundreds of volunteers, hikers, police officers, and even strangers who had never met the couple joined in what became one of the largest civilian search efforts in the region's history. Helicopters flew over the rugged terrain, their rotors echoing through the valley. Dogs were brought in from Vancouver. Divers combed through nearby lakes. But the deeper the teams went into the wilderness, the more unforgiving it became. Steep ridges, sudden fog, and unpredictable weather. By the end of August, authorities had to pull back. The forest had given them nothing. Still, the Warrens' families refused to let the case die. Emily's father, Richard Blake, made weekly trips to the park, retracing trails and leaving small markers, red ribbons tied to trees. "I'm not looking for answers anymore," he once told a local journalist. "I'm looking for peace." But peace never came. Over the years, the case grew colder. The missing persons posters faded from gas stations. The newspaper articles stopped coming. And the once hopeful Facebook page dedicated to finding them slowly went silent. Then came the rumors that Daniel had harmed Emily. That Emily had run away. That maybe, just maybe, they never went camping at all. Rachel, Emily's sister, held on to one final piece of hope, a voicemail Emily had left on her answering machine the morning they left. "We're off now," Emily had said, her voice soft and cheerful. "Don't worry, we'll be back before you know it." It was the last time anyone heard her voice. As the years passed, nature reclaimed everything. The dirt paths grew over. The lake where they might have camped changed shape after a landslide. Even the ranger who first led the search retired, saying in an interview, "That forest keeps its secrets. Whatever happened to them, it wanted to stay hidden." By 2015, the Warren story was mostly forgotten, just another unsolved mystery tucked away in old police files. But time has a way of bringing the truth, or what's left of it, back to the surface. Because in the fall of 2020, 26 years after they vanished, a lone hiker named Evan Carter stumbled into a section of the forest few people had entered in decades. And what he found would change everything. It was October 2020. Evan Carter, a 42-year-old outdoor enthusiast, had decided to spend his long weekend exploring a forgotten route near the upper ridges of Cathedral Provincial Park, a section known for its isolation and steep cliffs. He wasn't searching for anything unusual. Just fresh air, a bit of quiet, and a break from the chaos of city life. But as the sun began to sink behind the mountains, he realized he had wandered off the marked trail. Trying to find his way back, Evan noticed something strange near a cluster of moss-covered rocks, an old, faded piece of blue tarp barely visible under layers of pine needles. At first, he assumed it was just trash left behind by an old camper. But when he bent down and brushed away the debris, he froze. Beneath the tarp was a rusted metal frame, the corner of what looked like a collapsed tent. And beside it, half buried in the soil, was something pale and brittle. A human bone. Evan stumbled back, his pulse racing. He immediately called 911 and marked the area with his hiking pole. He didn't move anything else, not even when he noticed a delicate silver locket lying in the dirt nearby, its chain tangled in roots. Inside that locket, investigators would later find two tiny photos, one of Emily Warren, smiling, and the other of Daniel, holding his camera. Within 24 hours, a forensic team arrived on site. The discovery was in a part of the forest that had been inaccessible for years, overgrown and forgotten, a place even search teams had overlooked. When they cleared the area, What they found was both devastating and tender. The skeletal remains of a woman, positioned as if she had been lying on her side, facing a small, half-collapsed tent. Her hands were folded near her abdomen, and beside her rib cage were the fragile, unmistakable bones of an unborn child. The investigators went silent. Even seasoned officers stepped back, overwhelmed by the intimacy of the scene, as if the forest itself had been protecting her for all these years. Nearby, they found remnants of a campsite. A rusted cooking pot, torn fabric from a sleeping bag, a broken Polaroid camera, its film long destroyed by moisture, and, just a few feet away, an empty water bottle with Daniel's initials scratched on the cap. But there was no trace of Daniel's remains anywhere around the site. Had he gone for help and never returned? Had something happened that forced them apart? No one could tell. The condition of the bones suggested they had been there for decades, untouched by animals, buried lightly by time. One of the forensic officers later said, "It was as if she just lay down and never got up." But she wasn't alone. That's what got us all. She wasn't alone. When Rachel, Emily's sister, got the call, she couldn't speak. She just sat on the floor, holding her phone, listening to the investigator's trembling voice. After 26 years of wondering, of clinging to hope, she finally had an answer. But it wasn't the one she wanted. Emily had been found, but Daniel was still missing. For weeks, recovery teams searched the surrounding area, hoping to find any trace of him. They found pieces of torn flannel, consistent with a men's shirt, and a broken wedding band half buried near a tree root. But no other remains. The discovery reignited public interest across Canada. Old news footage resurfaced, interviews replayed. People who remembered the Warrens began sharing stories online. Yet the question that echoed the loudest was the same one that haunted investigators back in 1994. What really happened to Daniel and Emily Warren? In the weeks following the discovery, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police reopened the Warren case. For the first time in 26 years, there were physical remains to study, tangible proof that Emily and her unborn child had not simply vanished into legend. But the forest still held its silence. Forensic teams spent months analyzing everything: the tarp, the fragments of tent fabric, even soil samples. Every inch of the area was documented, mapped, and photographed. The findings were both detailed and hollow. There was no sign of violence, no weapon, no evidence of an attack or forced entry. The remains showed no broken bones consistent with foul play. The official conclusion was recorded as death by undetermined natural causes or exposure. But to those who had known the Warrens, that explanation was as painful as the mystery itself. Rachel was given the silver locket that had been found near Emily's body. She held it tightly during the memorial service held that winter, a quiet ceremony attended by only family, close friends, and a few officers who had searched for them decades earlier. The memorial stone was simple: Emily Warren, 1967 to 1994. And her unborn child, Lily. Forever together, forever loved. A few weeks later, while cataloging items recovered from the site, investigators made one final discovery: a small, weathered notebook. Its pages were fragile, water-damaged, but one entry had survived, written in faded blue ink. It read, "If anyone finds this, we tried. Daniel went to get help 2 days ago, but the rain hasn't stopped. The baby's kicking. I'm trying to stay warm. I don't know if he'll make it back, but I know he's trying. Please tell our families we love them. Please tell Rachel the name we chose was Lily." It was signed simply, Emily. The note confirmed what many had feared, that the couple had likely gotten lost or stranded during a storm, separated while searching for help. Daniel's body was never found. Soft, slow piano plays, visuals of old photos fading on screen, Daniel holding his camera, Emily smiling with a growing belly, the blue pickup truck. Every year since, hikers still visit that trail. Some say they leave wildflowers or small pink ribbons by the clearing where Emily was found. A few claim to have heard soft humming on quiet nights, as if carried by the wind. Maybe it's just the sound of the forest remembering. Or maybe, some stories never really end. The disappearance of Daniel and Emily Warren reminds us that even the most peaceful places can hold secrets beyond imagination. That love can endure, even in the darkest silence. And that sometimes, the answers we find only deepen the mystery. If you've stayed with us to the end of this heartbreaking story, thank you for remembering them. Please, take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us keep sharing the stories of those the world forgot. And remember to turn on your notification bell, so you never miss the next mystery we uncover. Until next time, stay safe and never stop searching for the truth.